We're back on day 4 here of the D3Hoops.com Roadshow. I'm Pat Coleman. I'm joined by Carol Simon, the head women's basketball coach at Brandeis, whose team snapped a 7-game losing streak this afternoon by defeating the University of Rochester 62-49. First of all, Coach, congratulations, and secondly, to go through what you guys have gone through the past month or so, and then come out and beat the first place team in the conference, it's a big surprise to me.
Yeah, it's not really a surprise to us. We've actually defensively we've been doing a pretty good job. It's on the offensive end we've really been struggling. As you mentioned before this, we had a couple games we were scoring, in the 20s, and you're not going to beat any team scoring in the 20s. I think with Rochester we match up just really well with them, just personnel-wise. So in that sense, we don't feel like it's a surprise. We know, how good they are, and we respect what they do, but just what we can do matching up.
Obviously there's a difference when you get into the UAA schedule, because this is one of the toughest conferences in women's basketball in Division III. But what was it, between the beginning of the season, where you get off to a 7-5 start, I guess, 7-4, then, or 6-5, then you win your first game in the league, and then the bottom just fell out for, you mentioned, back-to-back games with 28 points. It just had real struggles.
Yeah, in a couple of those games I just thought we weren't honestly offensively disciplined at all. We weren't playing within the system. We were breaking down a lot, and that's not the type of team we are. We're not a dribble, penetrate, get to the hoop, a Kentucky type of team. Yeah. We have to be disciplined, just because in some positions we are actually, we're pretty young. And I thought today that was the biggest difference, that we were disciplined on both ends of the court and more composed.
Today, too, I think one of the big things that jumps off the stats sheet is you said 15 offensive rebounds and turned those into 22 second chance points.
Yeah, I just thought we finished much better in every aspect of the game, whether it was off the offensive rebound or just in our half-court offense. And again, I thought because we weren't breaking down so much and we were a lot more composed, we just kind of took that breath and said, okay, compose yourself, let's finish. And I think that's where the difference was.
Started today, 2 seniors, 2 juniors, and a sophomore. I know that you've kind of been through some lineup changes. You've had some kids get sick, like I think a lot of teams, especially in Boston, had. This is your lineup that you would go with the rest of the year?
Yeah, I think so. I think there's some kids I'd like to see actually get more minutes off the bench. Today we went with a little shorter bench than we normally do, but I wasn't going to change that because everything was just working so well.
Yeah, exactly. You had, had 8 players get 11 minutes or more, and then a couple of players in at the end of the game as well. But it was, to me, first of all, you guys get off to that big lead. Rochester comes back and ties the game at the half, and one could reasonably expect, I think, that Rochester would come out and play like one would expect Rochester to play in the second half. But your team came out and started strong in the second half as well. Yeah,
and again, I think it starts from our defense. We just dug in. Granted, I think Rochester was a little tired. Coming off an overtime, win from NYU and the travel. So. I'll take it. Yeah. But again, I think it really comes from our defense. And then again, when the shots started to fall, you could see that just the confidence in the team and the players that really gave us the all-around game.
Is it tough to play that second game in the UAA on the road, I assume, on Sunday afternoon?
Absolutely, because you just don't know travel. Getting to a hotel, in and out of a different gym, trying to find food, and it's a very different feel than a lot of people really get. But listen, everybody in the UAA has to deal with it, so it's can't be an excuse. We always say the teams that are successful in the UAA are probably the teams that travel best.
Now. You've got one of those trips coming up yourself to Carnegie Mellon and Case Western Reserve. But I wanted to ask you about Emory, because you guys just saw them on Friday night as well. They were the other co-leader in the UAA coming into the afternoon. Now you guys have made them the sole leader.
I should be getting a thank you call from Emory coach.
Some kind of congratulations, some thank you cards, something that sort of thing. Tell us a little bit about Emory.
Emory's a very different team than most of the UAA teams. In the UAA, I think you see a lot of big, solid posts, physical posts, where Emory's just they're very athletic all the way around. They have guards that just can shoot the lights out, and you know they just keep bringing them in. They're like clones. Okay. You know, I think that's a good reason to have cloning illegal. You know, keep it there. But
if there's a conference in Division III that can master that, the UAA would have to be the one.
Exactly. So I think they're just very different than most of the other UAA teams.
Okay. And we talked to one of your former assistants earlier this week, Anthony Ewing, up at the University of New England, who seems to be having a pretty fantastic season there.
He is. You know, Anthony he was a good coach when he was here. You know, he gets it, and he's just getting better as he gets, older and more confident with himself as a coach. He's turned that program around tremendously. I'm still a little mad at him that he didn't give me a shout out, but
well, I see he's not on your schedule either.
I know. After he beat us once, I had to drop him.
It's Carol Simon, the head women's basketball coach at Brandeis University, here on day 4, and there will be still more from the D3Hoops.com Roadshow. 1 day left.